Sergio Perez has left the Miami GP in disappointment. Some might say he's even furious at what happened, at his team, at his teammate, and most importantly at himself. As Max Verstappen qualified 9th for the Miami Grand Prix, with Red Bull teammate and title rival Sergio Perez on pole and fresh off a double victory in Azerbaijan. Despite this, Verstappen was second by lap 15 of 57 and went on to defeat Perez in fairly easy way. This has left Sergio Perez absolutely destroyed. Could he have done anything about it? Or was he just collateral damage of the sheer excellence his teammate displayed during the Miami GP? Is the glimmer of a true championship fight that appeared after Baku already gone? Or was it never real in the first place? Was Miami the strongest indicator yet that Verstappen will win whenever he wants this season? It's a little unfair to Verstappen to suggest it was too easy. Yes, the combination of the greatest vehicle and Verstappen is tempting, but you can't dismiss his role in making it appear so simple. He swiftly rose to second position, never taking major risks but also avoiding being bogged down for longer than necessary. It would have been extremely simple for him to lose another 4 or 5 seconds in this phase, making his path to victory more difficult. With his pace in the second part of this hard tyre stint, he also confounded Red Bull's expectations. That was due to a mix of his underlying pace in Miami being faster than Perez's and his skill in managing tyres. Verstappen's path to win appeared to be straightforward, but he made it happen with his unwavering pursuit of brilliance and virtuosity behind the wheel. The sole benchmark was Perez, and aside from the first run in Q3, when Verstappen made a mistake, Verstappen had a significant edge over him throughout the weekend. That emphasizes his contribution. Perez made a good defensive effort in the end, but he was undone by his own lack of speed. With that car and 8 cars between them on the grid, there's no reason for Perez to be caught and overtaken, especially if he intends to battle for the title and consider himself a danger to Verstappen on most weekends. Perez simply wasn't quick enough, and he didn't look it all weekend. The qualifying events just set him up for a fall. Verstappen's damageless start just added to the sense that it was inevitable. He wasted little time pushing through the pack on the hards and everything went well for him. Perez's peaks, Jeddah and Baku, aren't the issue. Verstappen's title aspirations would be dashed if he fails to win a race from pole. But how has this been possible? And what made Perez so angry about the result? You could just read it off his face in the interviews after the race. Perez has earned a reputation as F1's tyre whisperer, someone who has been one of the best at handling the delicate rubber and extracting maximum efficiency from it during long, hard, one-stop races during the Pirelli era. The Miami Grand Prix, however, demonstrated how his 2023 championship challenger and Red Bull teammate Verstappen is really superior in this aspect, despite Perez's pre-event conviction, bolstered by his stunning Baku triumph, that he's begun to break the code of Red Bull's F1 vehicles. Perez was keen to point out how tough it was to get the medium tyre working efficiently at the start of the Miami Grand Prix, when the rain-soaked track lacked grip and the cars were all stuffed with fuel. His performance was hindered in the first stint by graining of the front right tyre, the most heavily loaded on this circuit, which meant he couldn't break away from the pack and establish proper charge of the race as Verstappen recovered from losing pole position on Saturday. Verstappen was able to minimize the damage from starting 9th by staying within 5 seconds of Perez throughout the opening stint. However, the real damage was done once Perez pitted to get rid of those troublesome mediums. Running on far fresher hard tyres than Verstappen started the race on, Perez should have been eating into Verstappen's lead and comfortably within his pit window before Verstappen's first obligatory stop. However, Verstappen was able to lap so quickly and efficiently on his used rubber that by the time he emerged from his own pit stop, on medium tyres clearly better suited to a grippier circuit, and a car now much lighter on fuel, he was right on Perez's trail, rather than many seconds behind. Verstappen's triumph was then only a question of time. There's no reason to chase down a significant deficit and blow up the medium tyres in the process. This is a big part of what separates the truly elite F1 drivers from the rest in the Pirelli era. The ability to manipulate the car so efficiently when track conditions are difficult and the tyres aren't working properly that your opponents can't find an answer even when they should theoretically have the advantage. Lewis Hamilton used to do it to Valtteri Bottas when they were Mercedes teammates, and Verstappen showed Perez what it's like to be a genuine F1 tyre whisperer in Miami. But during those latter stages of the Miami Grand Prix, Red Bull Racing drivers Max Verstappen and Sergio Perez engaged in an on-track confrontation. The Mexican intimated that he could have defended more forcefully. Indeed, the championship leader, Verstappen, comfortably outpaced his teammate on fresher, softer tyres. It was a brief battle, but Perez, who could still hook into the turn, drove to the outside and let Verstappen by. Perez was questioned whether he could have defended harder during the FIA press conference. According to his response, he may have. The Mexican explained, "Obviously, at the end of the day, we should put the team ahead of us. We're two drivers, but there are so many people working back home, working really hard. We have to stay respectful." In the closing stages, we had a very good fight, Perez added. "I think a bit more would have meant contact. That would not have been fair for any of us, only for Fernando Alonso." Even though Perez ended second, boos sounded out from the audience during Max Verstappen's presence for the Miami Grand Prix and at the podium ceremony when the Red Bull Racing driver collected his trophy for victory. Verstappen shook his head. Verstappen answers the boos from the American audience at the FIA press conference following the Miami Grand Prix. The Dutchman was not a fan favourite in Miami, and the crowd reflected that. Verstappen isn't losing sleep because of it, and he lets them know. Verstappen: "If I'm driving in the back, nobody would be doing anything in terms of reaction. I think it is normal when you are winning, and they don't like who is winning. So this something for me which is absolutely fine, as long as I stand on the top. That's the most important. I'll take the trophy home, and they go back to their houses, and they can have a nice evening." We all know Verstappen is Horner's wonderboy, and he lets us know all too often. So what did he say about the result? Could he defend Perez for once? Christian Horner witnessed Max Verstappen and Sergio Perez take home another 1-2 finish in Miami. Sergio Perez failed to capitalize on his pole position, whereas Verstappen had a fantastic race, according to the Red Bull Racing team chief. Verstappen's starting strategy proved to be the correct one. However, Horner believes Perez would not have won if he had started on hard tyres. Verstappen chose the harder tyre over Perez, who began from pole position on the mediums. Max starting on the hard tyre, there was more risk with that. Our simulations told us that it was a worse race. Where he potentially gained was with a safety car. His team made that choice, Horner told Sky Sports. Verstappen won the 5th race of the season without using a safety car. The crucial part was from lap 20 to lap 42. His pace on that worn tyre, that's where he was able to match and better Checo, he said. Perez knew 19.8 was the magic number to keep him behind, but having gone that long, it was an easy pass for Verstappen. So why not let Perez start on the hard tyre as well? The highest possible point score was for him to start on the medium. To be honest, with the pace he had, it wouldn't have mattered whether he'd started on the softs, medium or hard. What did Perez have to say about the result? It was a difficult race for the Mexican, but he displayed his sporty side for the cameras. Although he would have been furious at what just happened, he seemed like a passenger in a Verstappen masterclass. Immediately after the race, Perez declared, "Yes, I tried and I gave it all. I think the first stint was really poor. With the graining that we had on the initial pace, that compromised our race quite a lot, because we didn't have too much of a difference on the tyres. Max was efficient today, a well-deserved win." On his tyres, Perez added, "The medium initially was really poor. That was unexpected. That really compromised our pace. I honestly think that Max had a tremendous pace on the hard tyre. I have to analyse what happened today because I simply didn't have the pace." So, Sergio Perez has blamed bad tyre wear for his inability to pursue Max Verstappen for the Miami Grand Prix triumph in the final stages. What are your thoughts on it? One thing is certain, Perez was all but happy about it, yes. He showed sportsmanship, but his face said everything. He was furious about the result and probably feels left behind by his team. Will this be the case for Perez this season? Winning on merit or losing out? Let us know your thoughts in the comments down below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.